And so what was the question, though? What was the question based off of? What was the individual asking?
So this is in response to the question regarding demonic oppression,
Right.
disincarnate spirits, the things that control and manipulate us in the lower realms, and what our thoughts were. And you and I had a discussion regarding the shot, regarding the gene therapy that they are putting forward that doesn't actually produce antibodies,
Right.
and it with the nanotechnology that is within it.
Right. So our conversation was about then really the level of nefarious in this and the potential of that without with just seeing it for what it is from the perspective of where we are and the purpose that we play of extracting out father's narrative, right? That really knits mother and father together as one completed being of intention. And that's done through the process of remembering, right? Mnemonic. And then the counter of that would be demonic, right? Declination versus inclination.
Without memory.
Without memory, right? Because mnemonic is gathering the pieces necessary through what we have found through the language, but yet it's really expressive of just of a DNA signature in itself that allows for the ingathering then to produce the vessel of intention.
Right, through the compression of light.
Right. So the nefarious side of that would be that for those that haven't found it in the circle of time and then they perish, without completing the purpose of
So
the
in other
experience.
words, the expiration of the earth suit.
Right. So you're shedding the earth suit, which is just part of the Ouroboros, right? So you're shedding the skin and hopefully you're graduating to the next portion. But if you haven't, we are in Sheol. So, and as we know that through the law of thermodynamics, that nothing can be, energy can't be destroyed.
Right. It can't be created or destroyed. It only can be transferred.
It is. Right. So it simply is. So,
right.
So it has to be transferred. And we know that we are in a holding place that if it's unclean and hasn't fulfilled the journey of the intention, then it needs to be held somewhere until either the closing of time and the experiment and of experience is over for whatever reason. And that's why we have shadows walking amongst us. That this is really, it's like two dimensions in one, right? The shadow dimension, and then we have our frequency that we're able to materialize in this realm for the purpose of the experience that the spirit realm hasn't. But they don't have a host body. I don't know if it's a backlog of vessels or it's something that that is unattainable to them for whatever reason. I don't know why it's not. But what I can see is the level of nefarious again of preparing vessels through a prick, right? That now the earth suit is controllable. So when inhabited by a spirit, regardless of intention, if that spirit has an intention to find the remembering, is really limited in capacity based on the prick that would control the earth vessel. So it never has the ability to really graduate into the fullness of intention because it's limited and it's controlled and manipulated and really is fully imprisoned, always captured in a vessel. And as soon as it has a want and desire to go outside of the parameters of its limited control, its chain, then it's been either A, dispatched, or B, some way, form, and another controlled that it's not able to.
So what you're saying is that through the adjuncts that are within the actual gene therapy that pricks the skin, there are metals that are in there that are meant as a control device.
Yeah, we've lost, yes.
Just so people can connect to what you were just saying.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's just a control frequency. It's just a frequency that negates the purpose of why we're here. So absolutely, whatever's in there is distorting just the beauty of the intention of why we agreed to come into the experience of love.
Right. So because we are in a flesh suit that has the beast ego attached to it, which is the reptilian part of the brain stem of our brain, which then is controlled and manipulated by fear, those who are wanting to get pricked are really wanting to have their life back, to be able to go to concerts and be able to travel about and go to movies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of those things have nothing to do with our spiritual growth. In fact, they're kind of neutral. They don't produce one way or another. And we are in the squeeze of time in order for us to have to make a choice and a decision for spiritual reasons.
Yeah, we're
So what I'm saying is that those who choose to go and get their skin pricked in order to be able to go back to their old life, they are shoring up the beast ego within them, right?
absolutely. It's that whole, yeah, they're trapped. It's a trap. It's a great snare, and it goes back to what the spirit years ago. That language of how do you reach to restore if there's ignorance to neglect? How do you? Because there's a lineup for this shot, and I don't think that this is heartbreaking. It's gut wrenching because this is family that is lining up. That I don't know what it's going to take. It's going to take a full reset to reestablish another platform that would allow them to enter back in to the fullness of complete. Like this is our whole journey is based on completing a purpose plan, and I don't know what Father Source's next intention is for the availability for another platform to journey, right? Because you cannot enter back into the sanctum of a completed vessel without it being completed. It's partial.
Right. But as this inverse comes down, because it was hijacked,
Hmm.
then the first intention will be there without the hijacking.
Right.
So there will be the opportunity for those to be able to continue to find love without the perversion of this darkness that we've
Yes.
been locked in.
Yes, I just don't know what it is. I'm
Right,
just saying.
right,
I'm talking. I just don't know what the platform is. I'm
right.
just saying. But there will be. But there is a way out right now. But as soon as we take that shot, um, the prick, whatever it may be, that it there's a potential there, a very high potential to distort the spiritual progression.
Right.
So
For lots of different reasons.
for lots of different
Because
because
of they've been able to suppress the part in our brain that is connected to the spirituality, right? But also because of the things that are put in that are metallic like, then they can pump out frequencies to activate the metals to keep us in fear.
yeah, it's
And when you're in fear, that's all of the beast.
yeah, it's this is what we're trying to. Well, we're doing our best to release it right now, but it's a painstaking process to get it out clearly that um, Armageddon, and this will start to roll out that it's based off of really the amygdala, and so this is brain that will be distorted that we're not going to be able to comprehend ascension because of the distortion in the frequency of what we have now ingested in our body. So it's a it's a it's a it's a, again it's a real thing that is I'm not going to say frightening, but very concerning.
Well, but that's what they're counting on.
I know.
No,
That's
I'm
why.
just saying,
Yeah.
for the reason why I said it's shoring up the beast system is because they're making sure that we fear certain elements, hence why we would want to have the skin pricked with this gene therapy, because we have a fear of a plague, that might take our life, and we want our lives to go back because we want to have the conveniences, we want to have our money flowing, we want all of these things.
Hmm.
And the ultimate point is fearing death,
Yeah.
right? I
It,
mean, that is the biggest thing. If I don't get this, I could get sick and I could die. But that's just because we don't remember who we are, that we're eternal.
yeah. We need to remember who we are. But this is a difficult question because we're just kind of putting a finger on a map, right? We're just talking about an issue, but really the map is saying that um, if we can take our finger off and like, wow, there is so much going on here that we realize that they are what they're doing with this prick is it is causing a usurping on the throne of the amygdala. And so now we have that which sits upon the throne of
Of the
your
temple.
temple. So I'm
Right,
speaking a very specific language here.
right.
And so now we have exactly fulfillment of revelation. But those who have journeyed and not taken the prick have then produced shalom. That's what sits on their throne, which is the seat of the brain in the amygdala. And so now we have a completed vessel, right? But So we need to just open up the perspective a little bit to answer this question. Is like basically it breaks down to that it'd be very difficult to remember who you are, and we really need to know who we are right now for the level of potential of who we are. And this is really, and so it ties into that dream that I was sharing with you years and years ago about, I'm not going to go into the full dream, but the gist of it was at the very end of the dream, there was a storm coming on the world scene. And I remember walking away. It was a platform. It was a presentation of giving the baby back. And so I'm coming in halfway to the dream here. So, but I remember when I left, it was like the whole scene changed, and it was like the baby was delivered, and I walked away. It was almost like an amphitheater setting, and I walked away, and I was going back to my Jeep at that time, and I was walking along the street, and an individual. It was like almost like a drug user out in the corner of the street, and he had many syringes. And it was just like, you had to get it done. And I remember he went to almost inject it into my neck. And I just backed away and I says, no, I'm clean. And he was shocked. His whole body contorted because he just like, and he repeated it, you're clean? Like no one's clean, right? And I'm not saying that in prior areas. I'm just saying that in the dream is that everyone, as soon as the prick was administered, then what it's going to cause is a constant pricking to maintain the adjuncts.
Right.
They're going to call for really an increase. Otherwise, there's going to be a dispatching of the earth vessel. So there's going to be a constant need to upgrade, right, through the administration of the prick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I entered my Jeep, zipped up the window, and I looked up, and there was a storm coming. And I was like, wow. And then I woke up. And that was like, how long ago was that dream?
Well, it's been quite a while ago.
Like,
I mean,
5-6 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but anyways, it was just, and now we have, like, this is all Nanotech Neurolase.
Right.
And that's what it was. It was injected. And that's exactly what we're talking about is nanotech neurolasing. And this will definitely create the lack of ability to prognosticate, to create neuroplasticity for the purpose of intentions to grow.
Well, it connects you to the Borg.
Well, yeah.
The AI.
The wrong
one.
The
Right.
wrong consciousness.
Exactly. An artificial one instead of the one that we are creating just organically.
Yeah, we have people that were in a relationship and they would call it either the metal or the AI or whatever it may be. It's a counterfeit to the original template. And
Yep.
this is a control mechanism. So we say this in love. We just speak this in love that it would reach those necessary. But you can see that the potential of wandering spirits in the earth are looking to inhabit an earth vessel.
Right. And so there's even the English scripture that talks about those who are wanting to save their lives will lose it.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Because saving the life is saving the earth vessel. The beast ego is attached to the earth vessel, and it needs to have a shell to be connected to.
That's the only way we can experience. Yep.
Yeah, and the experience is there, but if you fear death, if you literally are afraid of certain elements, then the beast ego will make you do things that could be and have severe consequences. Like you said, of never being able to get out of the matrix.
Yeah, I mean,
you just go round and round and round and round because the frequencies.
It's very difficult to explain death because really, by definition, we are dead without the completion of mother and father. Death is not, again, we take it out from the word and we can just simply see it as a potential of experience. We entered Sheol. We already entered death. It's like
we entered death to find life.
We entered death to find life. The shedding of the earth suit is truly when we complete it, that's when we experience life.
Right.
We are just simply in a shadow world.
Right.
We are a shadow of ourselves, and amongst this are deeper degrees of shadows.
Right.
And so until we're completed and knit together, one mother connecting with father, with Ruach between, we are not living. We are simply separated, and we called it death, and then death has formed this word that's dark and black and scary, and it's like, no, it's not. We need to redefine death. And that's exactly part of the fear element that they're counting on, that people now, they're walking in fear, and that's why they're administering through a prick, really, because of fear. And this is a very tender place we're in right now. It's very real, as much as it's still an illusion.
Right, it is. And so, unfortunately, that is the ability to cause more trauma.
Right. So we need to realize that it is an illusion. We have nothing to fear. So I just speak shalom and peace. And then we have to have hope in this right now. But if we've done our job correctly and we've ingested frequency that is a higher caliber and we are resonating to that of shalom and love, then we have nothing to fear. We've already created a new paradigm and a new reality that's allowed us to really live outside of this lesser construct. And that's our bubble.
Yeah. So, in other words, we need to take our time to perfect love.
And
Because if perfecting love casts out the beast ego, and without the beast ego, we won't be running to get our skin pricked.
And that's the gift of time right now.
Yes, it is.
Time right now is truly a gift that we have that opportunity to do that. So yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Shalom, shalom, and namaste.